Harvard under fire because their president, Claudine Gay, defended calls for genocide against the Jews as requiring a little bit of context. I'm not quite sure if it's harassment. And also then she was caught plagiarizing, I guess, basically everything she's ever written, including thank you notes for Christmas gifts. She's just plagiarized everything. And now we found out that the Harvard president once created a, quote, task force on visual culture and signage to make white men less visible at Harvard. We found this out thanks to Chris Rufo, who is on a jihad against Claudine Gay and might still end up getting her fired. He pointed out that during the George Floyd riots, Gay commissioned this task force that released a series of recommendations for engaging with the, quote, historical reckoning with racial injustice. And the recommendations included a mandate to change, quote, spaces whose visual culture is dominated by homogenous portraiture of white men. Homogenous. All those white guys look the same. You know how all those black guys look the same? Oh, hold on, you're not allowed to say that. Oh man, you'd be totally canceled if you said that. But now those white guys, they're all just stupid, evil white guys. I hate them. They're the worst, aren't they? I hate those white guys. Well, anyway, that's what the Harvard president thinks. She said, we need to get rid of all these pictures of white men. She said that administrators needed to refresh the walls of Annenberg Hall because it, quote, prominently displayed a series of 23 portraits, none of which depict women, and all but 3 of which depict white men. And we hate these white men. It doesn't say who the white men are. So they usually leave out who the white men are because they're some of the most accomplished people ever in history. That's why they have their portraits on the wall. But they don't want to get into that. They just say, we hate whitey. We hate the white guys. Get rid of them. We need to refresh things because of these stale, disgusting, awful white men. This woman is awful. This woman, Claudine Gay, this president of Harvard, is just cartoonishly awful. She goes before Congress. First of all, there's the pogrom on Israel, probably the largest pogrom ever, certainly in recent history. And the Hamas runs in, totally unexpected attack. And her first response is silence. Her first response is, while the Harvard students are defending Hamas, is silence. Then, because of that, she and the UPenn president get dragged before Congress. And she and the Penn lady both say that, calls for genocide against the Jews, it doesn't necessarily constitute harassment, when you really think about it, and this and that and this and that. So the Penn lady gets fired because she's white, and we hate white people. Remember, white people are evil, they're terrible. So she gets fired instantly. Claudine Gay, though, is not white. She also hates white people, apparently. She wants to refresh society by getting rid of the white people. So she gets to stay in office, because if you fire her, she would be, you would be racist, rather. But then we found, on top of that, thanks to Chris Rufo and Aaron Sibarium, the journalist, that this woman has plagiarized everything from her doctoral dissertation in school to, I think she has a total of 11 academic publications. Actual scholars have 11 academic publications before they leave graduate school. Okay, but Claudine Gay, who is manifestly not an actual scholar, has 11 total in her entire career, and she plagiarized those, including the acknowledgments in her academic publications, such as they are. So then they get her on that, but they still don't want to fire her because it'd be racist to fire her. Go fire another Karen at another Ivy League school, but you can't fire Claudine Gay. And now we find out that she undertook an active campaign to get rid of the white guys on campus. Is it any wonder then, the numbers are in, numbers don't lie, that Harvard's early admission applications have dropped to a 4-year low. Harvard's early admission apps are down 17%. Right now, go to hirebond.com. If you are single, you've probably seen or heard about all the insane dating apps out there. But what if I told you there was a dating app that actually cared about your morals, your biblical values? Hirebond is the new Christian dating app built to be safer, less stressful, and more Christ-centered. Hirebond is completely different than anything else out there. There's no addictive swiping. The focus is truly on quality over quantity. It is designed to form lasting marriages. Hirebond is veteran-owned by a husband and wife looking to change the way Christian singles meet online. It's no secret that left-wing media and big tech are against companies like Hirebond. In fact, one of the major tech companies is preventing Hirebond from running ads on their platform. Their ad team took a screenshot of Hirebond's website, highlighted the parts that said Christian in yellow and said, this is why we're not going to run your ads. It's almost unbelievable, except we see these kinds of things so often now. Our society, our country need what Higher Bond is providing. If you're single, you got to check out higherbond.com. Sign up before New Year's Eve and get 3 months of Higher Bond Premium absolutely free. Higherbond.com today. Right now, head on over to packshield.com, promo code Knowles. Whether you are a parent, a frequent traveler, or simply an individual seeking enhanced personal safety, you need to check out PackShield. PackShield is a ballistic insert that fits into backpacks, messenger bags, and briefcases. The insert meets the National Institute of Justice and 3A standards to stop a .44 Magnum. PackShield comes in a variety of sizes and colors, plus it weighs less than most textbooks and laptops, so it can be easily transferred from bag to bag. I have some PackShields. Great thing about them is no one can tell I have it on my person. They are extremely lightweight, inconspicuous. I love knowing that I and you and anyone who gets it can be protected with PackShield. It is easier to keep your head down. I know it. It's easier to not think about potential threats that you could encounter in public life. You got to think about those things. You got to be prepared. PackShield gives me peace of mind. PackShield should never be used for any reason other than personal defense. So pack some protection and some peace of mind with PackShield. Check them out for yourself at packshield.com, promo code Knowles, KNWLES, for 20% off. That is PAKShield.com, promo code Knowles, KNWLES, for 20% off today. Harvard having a real-time recruiting students. It's weird, isn't it? Harvard's supposed to be one of, if not the most prestigious universities in the country. 4-year low, 17% down on early admissions. What's that about? It can't be about the plagiarism scandal, actually, because the deadline for early action was November 1st, and the plagiarism scandal didn't break until a couple of weeks ago. It can't be even the congressional testimony. The congressional testimony was after the deadline. What it was, though, I think, was related to the October 7th pogrom, because after that attack, you had all of the Harvard groups, something like 24 Harvard student groups, voicing support for the Palestine liberation movement and for Hamas, and that just doesn't look good. It created a real wedge in the Democrat Party. The wedge being that elite Democrats, older Democrats, support Israel. Younger Democrats, activist Democrats, support Palestine liberation. There's not a lot of room for reconciliation there. That is a proper wedge. And those scandals, especially now, imagine if the early application deadline were later, it probably the drop would be even more significant. Those scandals are actually hurting the university. 17% down is rough. So what do? I think we follow Chris Rufo's lead. Chris Rufo is a very, very effective Gramscian political activist. Meaning he's a very smart guy. He's a good think tank scholar. He's a good journalist. But what he's really, really good at is emulating the tactics of the political left, the radicals, Antonio Gramsci, Herbert Marcuse, the new left of the 1960s. He can emulate their tactics in a just way for the principles of the right. And he's better at doing that than just about anybody. There are very few people who come even close to Chris Rufo. And that's what he's doing here. He's trying to get the Harvard president. And this is the kind of specificity that we need. Okay? We're not going to take down every university in the United States. The universities are the epicenter of leftist power. The universities are where radical leftism really came alive in the 1960s. They provide the sinecures for the radical leftist activists. The downstream effects of that are massive because all of the political elites go to these schools. So it's huge. And if we could gut those universities, it would be the biggest power grab by conservatives in generations. But we're not going to get rid of all of them right away. We're not going to retake those universities right away. We're not even going to knock the Ivy League right away. But we might get Harvard. We might just get Harvard. If we can just persuade enough students not to apply to Harvard, and maybe they go to Yale, maybe they go to Stanford, I get kind of a kick out of it, even though Yale is extremely left-wing too and probably wants to rescind my degree every day of the week. I kind of get a kick out of it because I've rooted against Harvard for a long time, and now actually Harvard might go down. But forget about All those schools are extremely left-wing. Stanford, Yale, Princeton, Cornell, all of them. But if you can get the students to go from Harvard to the peer schools, you can really weaken Harvard. And then you keep pushing on the president scandal, and you get the president to resign in disgrace. That further hits the Harvard reputation. And then you point out to the donors that you got 24 Harvard student groups marching for Hamas. That's really going to hurt the donors. That's really going to hurt the donations coming into Harvard. And then you've got a three-pronged attack that seriously weakens what is the symbol of prestigious elite education in the United States, a stronghold of the left. And that's a political win. You're not going to take down every woke corporation at a time. You're going to take down Bud Light, if that. Okay, that's your chance. You get one of them. Even Target. We tried to take down Target. Didn't really work. We did take down Bud Light. Got to keep up the pressure on Bud Light, too. Bud Light's not the only company that's embraced the radical LGBT LMNOP agenda. Far from it. They all have. But Bud Light did it in the most egregious way that gave us the biggest opening. We took them down. We took a scalp, a corporate scalp. That's what we got to do here with Harvard. Keep it up. Man, what a great clip that was, huh? Now, whoa, hold up. Ring that bell. Subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. See you next time.